welcome Christi.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, this time of year right now, we're getting into holiday time, and let's start off with just something very basic for those that have never heard you. What is your role in the Marion Crawford Prevention Programs? And kind of what, I know you're dealing with youth, so go ahead and just basically, if you could do a nice nutshell summation.
Sure. So my job is to lead drug-free coalitions in both Marion and Crawford counties. So our prevention coalition aims to educate parents and community why prevention is important and how to support that. So our agency works primarily with youth, encouraging them to make healthy choices, and they encourage their peers to do the same. So then our job is to educate parents and community how they can help and reinforce that as well. Because we know if we can have our kids safe and healthy, they will turn out to be safe and healthy adults.
All right. Now, I imagine with this time of year, we would be getting into things with people have a tendency to have alcohol use tends to go up. Mm-hmm. I imagine this is an area you'd like to cover?
Yes, it is. We know that during the holidays with celebrations, oftentimes alcohol is involved. And so our goal is to just remind parents that this is still a time to have conversations with your kids. And when we say conversations, it doesn't have to be an hour-long conversation, just little tidbits here and there. You know, if they're going to hang out with friends, asking them what their plan is, and, you know, will there be alcohol there? And, you know, obviously touching base with families of where your children are going to make sure that there's not going to be alcohol there. But still constantly having conversations with your kids around the harms of alcohol use.
Now, a part of this as well is, you know, we're talking about speaking here. We're talking about alcohol use. Mm-hmm. But I would think just as important would be having a good role model.
Exactly, and that's a big part of it too, is we always encourage parents to, when you have those conversations about what you expect from your child, kind of do as you say, you know, act responsibly, understand what responsible alcohol use is. We're not saying adults who are 21 and over cannot use alcohol. We're just saying do that responsibly and let your kids see that and know that. Whether that be, you know, planning an event where there isn't alcohol, or maybe you utilize mocktails, which are very popular right now. So fun, festive drinks that do not contain alcohol. Or if you know alcohol is going to be served, you know, arrange for driving options. So, or, you know, only having 1 to 2 drinks over that, you know, 4 or 5 hour period. Showing responsible drinking is very important to set an example for your children.
All right, well, that's, you know, I just kind of thought we'd show it out because young people tend to model what they see. We all do that. We tend to model what we see. So, you know, don't tell me something, and then on the other hand, I'm seeing this behavior, but then you're telling me not to do this behavior or vice versa, you know.
Exactly. Modeling that behavior you expect from your kids. And again, we're not telling adults not to consume alcohol, but do it responsibly, you know. And there's great ways to do that. Again, you know, play games, do things that, you know, don't focus on just the alcohol and at an event, or you know, just let your kids see you saying, you know, hey, we're going out to a friend's house and, you know, we're gonna get an Uber, or we're gonna do ride share, or we have a designated driver, and, you know, setting those standards. So when they do decide after that age of 21 to consume alcohol, that they've seen a good example and follow that as an adult.
I guess the point I was trying to make, Christi, was that we got to be careful about mixed signals to people. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, our mouth may say one thing, but our actions are saying something else. And I think young people pick up on that pretty quick.
I agree. I think they do as well. And we know that there's a lot of evidence that shows that, you know, a lot of times parents say, oh, I don't have any influence over my teenager. Well, that's not true at all. And the data shows otherwise, that when you show them good examples, you're the most impactful person in their choices. So as long as you have that relationship with them and you've built, you know, those conversations into everyday life, and again, then role model and show what that looks like, you have a huge impact on your child. So.
Well, and you were talking about various things on here about drinks and what you called a mocktail and various things. But sometimes I wonder, do people really know what's in a drink? And I think that's probably something we ought to talk about too, because we see, again, I go back to visual because a lot of people are very visual.
Sure.
And they'll see something, and it looks like these people are having a great time, and they're putting down a lot of it could be acting. I'm on television or something. They'll see, man, that looks like these people they're drinking a lot. But in reality, they wouldn't even be standing if they was drinking that, correct?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
We do, this came to mind when I was planning for the podcast, what we call what's in a drink. And I think it's important we do this in our 9th grade days in all the county schools in Crawford and Marion County. And we know that for people to make smart choices, they have to have some information. So understanding what is in a drink. So 1 serving of alcohol for beer, and this is just a good old generalization. Right. It can vary, but 12 ounces of beer is 1 serving of alcohol. 5 ounces of wine is a serving of alcohol. The same amount of alcohol is in 5 ounces of wine. And then about 1.5 ounces of liquor equals the same amount of alcohol as a 5-ounce glass of wine and a 12-ounce glass of beer. And we do that and we show that to the kids in our education because 5 ounces of wine does not look like a whole lot of alcohol. And it's important for people to understand that. Not to, judge people who don't put just 5 ounces, but understanding that that is a serving of alcohol. And that alcohol takes about an hour to process through your body generally. And then we also discuss too, other things that can affect the way the alcohol processes through your body. So if you're utilizing medication, even ibuprofen or something over the counter, the effects of alcohol can be different if you're utilizing medication. And then also, certainly prescription medication. Many say don't consume alcohol with that. So again, setting that example, showing that role model, being a role model to your kids, and understanding what actually is 1 drink. Many times when we go to restaurants, the glasses are not just 12-ounce glasses. They're 20-ounce, and so we'll hear people say, well, I just had 1. Well, is it just 1? And that's important to understand. And that's part of responsible alcohol consumption, is understanding what actually is a drink. Okay.
Well, that's a lot to think about. I really don't, I can see where you're going with that. That's quite interesting. Anything else you'd like to really share today on the podcast?
Yeah, we always check out the Crawford Prevention Coalition's Facebook page. We put things like, what's in a drink out there, or great conversation tips. We'll probably put some mocktails on the website or the Facebook page for the holiday. So, also understanding if there are people who don't drink, having options for them. We don't want people who don't consume alcohol to be stigmatized because they don't use alcohol. So having those mocktails. But our Facebook page, Crawford Prevention Coalition Facebook page, is always a great resource. And I also found another great resource. It's responsibility.org, and it has talking tips for parents. It has a quiz on some situations, what would be the best choice. It has responsible drinking. It discusses what's in a drink. So it's a really great resource. And in a busy day and age, sometimes those websites are great places to find information any time of day. So we encourage people to be good role models and look into those resources for them.
All right, Christi. Thanks for coming over today.
Well, thank you, Dave. I appreciate you having me.
Again, our guest has been Christi Eckert. She's from the Marion Crawford Prevention Programs. I always want to say with it singular instead of plurals because it is programs. But again, with the Marion Crawford Prevention Programs, thanks for being the guest on the podcast. And I wish you the best as we move forward.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave.